welcome back to my channel. My name is Brianna, where I film crochet and hobby content, and if you like that kind of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe now. Today is going to be a little bit of a different video. I'm going to be talking about my experience teaching. I've been teaching ever since 2018, so it's been around 6 years since I've been in the education field. Regardless of how young I am or how young I look, I have been teaching since 2018, 100%. It was in different fields, so I was teaching like in a garden, outdoors, different things like summer camps, but I had like formal lesson plan training. And then in 2022, yes, when I graduated for undergrad, I started my first job at a charter school, and that was my first like experience teaching in a classroom. And then my 2023 year was my first, I also taught in a private school as well towards the end of that school year, so around 2023. I also graduated with my graduate's degree, and then I started a public school teaching job, and I lasted the whole year, and we're on summer break now. So I love teaching, not because of admin, not because of the kids, not because of my coworkers. I love teaching because of the work-life balance. So I'm not going to be laughing and kikiing too much in this video as I normally do, and I'm just going to be completely honest. I was unable to find a work-life balance at all. And there's other teachers in my school and schools, mind you, this hasn't been just a 1-year thing. Every single teacher I've met is completely okay with sacrificing majority of their time for school. They're okay with sacrificing time away from their kids for school. They're okay with sacrificing their spouses, partnerships, friendships for school. And some people can do that. I can't. I said this in another video. I've lost so many people in my life, to the point where the people who I do have currently, I intend to keep them in my life, and I want to be present into their day-to-day lives. And 100% honestly, I wasn't able to do it. I wasn't even able to do YouTube because of how much work I had to do on a daily basis. And it gets easier. A lot of teachers tell me in 3-5 years, like, it'll be easier, and I'm sorry. As much as I love my students and I love my kids and I love history, I love teaching history, the amount of work that I was doing, and I'm gonna have to be doing that for 5 years, I'm sorry. It just isn't for me. I'm someone who has a lot of health issues, as I've said in other videos, so therefore I have health issues. When I come home, a big chunk of my time is working on the stuff that I didn't work on at school and my health issues. There was no time for friends, no time for partying, no time for crocheting, which I love, very little time for reading, which I also love, and very little time to spend time with my partner, which I love. So just me personally, because of my health and my hindrances and the way that I choose to live my life, teaching did not align with that because of the struggles of work-life balance. Now, a whole bunch of people in my comments gonna say there's ways to do it, that you can do this and then you can do that, but then there's this and then you can't take work home. When you're first starting out, you're gonna take work home. I'm sorry, you just are, because you don't even know what you're doing. You don't know the school. Yes, they may have curriculum. You still have to grade it. You still have to prep. You still have to plan. So regardless if you're doing 40 minutes to work or 3 hours to work, that's up to you. All of my teachers in my building had to do work at home. Every single one. Every single job that I've had, you've had to do work at home. And you want to know why? Because our kids are different and they have a little bit more behavioral challenges than usual this generation. A lot of your time on your preps, you get at least 2 preps in New York, is spent behavior managing, meetings, parent calls. So yes, it is possible for you not to take work home, but And 100%, honestly, there's so many things that pop up on a day-to-day basis that your prep might be taken away from you. I would have to say that in a normal week, I would say I have actually like probably 2 or 3 preps where I actually could get work done. Just being honest. I came home, I was so tired every single day from dealing with kids and like behaviors that I just slept, dealt with, and that's how I dealt with my health. So I just want to say that there is good schools, there's good admin, there's good coworkers, there's good students, there's good everything still in education, even though it's very hard to find. But me personally, my work-life balance, it fell apart. And one of the reasons why I'm not laughing or as jokey as in other videos too is because of the fact that I didn't want to leave. I didn't. But when you start going to the doctor and they start telling you that there's nothing wrong with you, but yet you're feeling in pain and you're sad every day, and you're still working out and like trying to be healthy and trying to get rest and trying to be happy and doing all these multiple things, taking vitamins, make sure you're eating fruit, and the doctors are just like, yeah, I don't know why you're in so much pain every day. I don't know why you feel so bad every day. That was my cue to be like, okay, I don't need another surgery. I don't need another like run in at the doctors personally for nothing to turn into something. So that's one of the reasons why I left. But you know me, I'm always gonna put a positive spin on things. There is nothing but learned experience without teaching other people what you've known and what you've learned. So the other half of this video is going to be tips for first year teachers or even like reoccurring teachers. Like, it's up to you how you want to kind of do this. So my first tip is to ask as many questions as you can. Ask as many questions as you can, please. Because what is going to happen, there's so many things to do in a school day. You don't even know. If you're a first year teacher, you don't even know. There's so many things that you have to do. Attendance, throughout the period. Do you have a do now where you can even take attendance? Right? So think about that for a second. Are you structuring your lesson to do the things that you need to do within the lesson? So here's are some examples of questions that I've asked. I actually wrote them down in my notebook. When is parent-teacher conference? What are the expectations for parent-teacher conference? Do I have to set up my classroom? Do I have to display student work? Do I have to have student work for parents? These are really good questions because apparently I was supposed to have work samples. I threw them kids' works out, girl. If they didn't, I gave it back to them. Kids would like just crumple up their work and just like throw it in the desk, so I threw it out. But you have to keep some student work because people are going to ask you for it. Especially if a kid is failing your class, they're going to be like, okay, so what are you doing in my class? And then you can show them work samples. What are grades due? What is the lesson format should I be using? Is there a grading system? How do I access it? Is it going to take a while for me to access? Things like that. Is there a classroom management system already in the school? Because you don't want to come up and throw everything on its head, right? You want to come up and be in kind of a symbiosis with the other teachers. You don't want to just invent something new. How many ICT kids in my class am I going to be dealing with these kids alone? What are their IEPs? How do I see their IEPs? What accommodations do they need? How do I request to go to PD, professional development? How many observations do I have? When is the PD days? Where can I find my benefits and sick days? Do I also teach electives? What are the expectations for me teaching electives? Is it the same as teaching a regular gen ed class? When do I set up my classroom? Do I get funds to set up my classroom? What are the procedures for lunchroom, bathroom, and hallway? Am I expected to stand in the hallway? Am I expected to manage behaviors in the bathroom? Different things like that. What are the strengths and weaknesses of my students? And that is the most important question. And the reason why that is the most important question is because when you're planning lessons, you have to plan a lesson that everyone could do. My biggest issue with my students, my biggest weakness with my students was reading. And you'll probably find that in your classroom too, just because of the rise of social media and low attention span, it gets really difficult for them to read. So therefore, your worksheets, your projects, do you have vocab cards for those kids who can't read? Do you have sight words in your classroom? Do you have ELL students? Can you give them a separate version of the text so that everyone knows what they're doing and they're all on the same page? How do I access those materials? Ask as many questions as possible. And to be honest, if your principal does not want you asking questions, that's a good indication that the principal is not paying attention. Let's just be real. Because my principal, I was like, I have questions. She was like, let's set up a meeting. And during the summer, and we went through all the lists of questions that I had, which were those same questions, and she answered every single one of them. That way, the first day of school, I knew what I was doing, I knew my plan, and I knew how to get going. My second tip is to come up with some sort of lesson planning skills. Make it easy for yourself. So lay out what you need to teach month by month and create a unit plan that starts with the most basic skill that gradually goes to the more complex skill to build on. And don't forget to, as your lesson planning, make things relevant and current. Like you could use review games, or like for example when I taught the Gilded Age, like I showed pictures of the Met Gala, because everything is relevant and current. And also lesson planning skills, please always give yourself a backup lesson for when you're not feeling well. Because there's going to be days where you're going to be sick and you're still going to go to school and you're going to be like, wow, I really do not want to teach these kids today. So then what are you going to do? Sometimes I found like an episode or a very, very long video with like 10 questions for them to do. And I would know the night before, I'm like, I do not feel good. I'm going to find a 30-minute video on YouTube and we're going to do a short response based on it. And we're going to follow skills to do the short response. Okay? So please make lesson planning easy for yourself. Also, like something that I want to say too with this is start with the simplest skill. And this literally could be, if your end of the unit plan is to write an essay, do they know how to write a paragraph? I know this is a good question because some of my kids didn't. Do they know what a topic sentence is? Do they know how to cite evidence? Do they know what citations to use? Do they even know how to write a proper heading? Think about all these skills that you need to practice and go over them. Don't assume that students know anything. So when you're lesson planning, always make sure, how can I make it current? How can I make it engaging? And then lastly, like, what skills are they going to need to know beyond my class? And my biggest thing was annotating, because there's some historical text that I don't even know how to read, and I'm grown and I have a degree and I don't know how to read it. But if I annotate and I know some words and I know the time period and how to apply the background information, I think I'm gonna have a good idea of what that person is trying to say. And I tell them that all the time, especially when we did Columbus's journal. All right, my next hugest tip is find a routine that works for you. Okay, and let me actually show you my book. So if you guys don't know, I'm a huge weeb anyway, and these are the notebooks that you can get on Amazon that they also use in the animes. And the reason why I use it is because it has this tab that you can add things to. So if you take a look, I have my daily teacher schedule. On Mondays, on daily, I would update the homework tracker, prepare materials, slides, grade as soon as possible, and prep for the next day. Weekly, I would do advisory plans, upload school classroom, plan the week's materials, make sure the grades are updated, and reach out to parents. And I use this based on how many preps I had throughout the day. So Mondays, I'd prepare for the week, and same thing with Tuesdays. Wednesday, I would plan out the next week. Thursday, I would print all my materials, label all my materials, and also begin the slideshows. On Fridays, I would do the current events. I would prepare for Monday, so as soon as I leave on Friday, I make sure that I know what I'm doing on Monday, and I made sure that Fridays were also writing days. So that's another tip that you can do. Pick a day out of the week and create some type of routine. Friday, we did current events and writing. So honestly, they were doing a lot of self-taught work on Fridays. They did the investigation for current events, and they were also expected to write something. So I was kind of free to like go around and monitor during those days. On Saturdays, I would finish the slides of the week. So on Thursdays, I would begin Monday and Tuesday slides. Saturday, I would finish Wednesday, Thursday, Friday slides. And on Sunday, I would post to Google Classroom. Okay? Aside from that, this is what, let me get a good one for you. Okay, this is a good one. So I would have the week labeled at the top, and then each day I would write about what I'm doing for each class, the homework, and the classwork assignment. And this was really good to map out, so I already knew what I was doing and how to find the worksheets for it. So yes, create a routine for yourself, because trust me, you are going to need it. The next tip is to always prepare the night before. You want to know why? Because you think, you know what, I'm not feeling well, I'm going to save it to tomorrow, and then you have a parent meeting during your prep, and then the next prep that you have, the principal wants to speak to you about something that child did, and then all of your time is gone, and then you're rushing. There's traffic, unexpected traffic delay, you get there late, you're not able to prepare. Always prepare the night before. And I also say this because people enter your classroom unexpectedly and you don't want to end up looking crazy. Always prepare the night before. Even if you feel like, let me just do it for like 5 minutes, so that way the next day I can use another 10 and not the 15 that turns into a 20 and 25. Prepare the night before. Please. Don't say you're going to print it tomorrow. Print it tonight. Print it tonight. Because there's a million times I'm printing tomorrow, my printer stopped working, child. So yes, always prepare the night before. My next tip is really big for first year teachers. Understand your classroom management plan and stick to it. The book that I used was Classroom Management by Michael Linsin. He has many books for middle school and high school. I personally teach middle school because I think it's easier to classroom manage in middle school because they're still scared of their parents. I had a 2 strikes you're out rule. I gave you your first warning. I spoke to you, I gave you your first warning, and then I give you your second warning. I'm calling your parent and you have detention with me. No if, no ands, or buts. And I stuck with it that first month and a half, and to be honest, by November and December, if I said it's quiet, you could hear a pin drop in the classroom. And I'm not trying to brag, but because I started off so strong, is because I started off with respect. I'm not strict, and please, also listen to what I'm saying. I'm not strict because I don't want to be pushed over. I'm not strict because I want to assert my dominance. I'm not strict because I want to seem like the big bad wolf. I'm strict because I care. This classroom is an environment for learning. Which means no nonsense, no bullying, no foolishness, no being rude to each other, because you want to know why? It's not a safe environment. And I established that on the first day of school when I wanted people to introduce themselves, and they were making fart names and laughing. I said, excuse me, this classroom is a place of respect. I'm sorry, you're in 7th grade and you talking like that? That's weird, because I would never do that to you, so I do not expect you to do that to me or anybody in this classroom. Got it? Got it. And I honestly never had any major issues in my classroom, because that first week of school, I made sure, I even went over why is learning important. I showed them videos of kids that have to walk miles and miles to school, miles and miles to get water, young ladies who can't even go to school because they're on the periods and they're considered, dirty, and they can't be in a school building. I'm like, yo, y'all better not come in my classroom and act a fool when you're taking for granted your free education. Because there's so many people in parts of this world that do not have the luxuries that you have, so you better sit down and respect each other so that we can do some learning. And I established that in the beginning, and I never had any major issues. I also told them that if they mess with me two times in a class period, I'm calling their parent. And nobody really tried that. But I did have a few students that did try, and then I called their parents, and then it was fine. And I'm saying all this, and my kids and I still have a great relationship. They appreciate the fact that I care so much. And I think one of the reasons I'm getting off topic, I care so much, is because of who I am, how I look, and where I went to school growing up. So that has a part to play in it as well. My next tip is to take care of your health. If you have to sleep, go to sleep. Eat 3 meals a day. Please make sure you're not cutting corners. Just take care of yourself. Play some games, read some books. Like, you are going to be in an environment where everyone expects you to make school your #1 priority. And school, you are an educator, yes, but being a teacher is not your whole life, and it should never be your whole life. Your job should not be your life. You should also have friends and family and hobbies, and to take care of yourself as well. So what I did, even if it was 30 minutes on a Sunday, I did a self-care day. I had like the whole everything shower kind of routine. You're gonna burn out fast if you don't also take care of yourself. And I'm telling you this now, especially for the first years, that first month of September, you are going to feel like you cannot stop working. Because you probably can't. There's so much to do. You have to set up your classroom. Admin told you all these things about your kid that they could have told you over some, but they didn't tell you. So now you have to deal with it. So all of those things take into account. Make sure, even if it's 30 minutes, go meditate somewhere. Go take a dog for a walk. Like, do something, because it's really going to pay off in the long run. Whew. So this tip is one of my favorites. Have people in your life that's willing to help you, okay? I am blessed and lucky to have an amazing partner who literally supported me as I was working, and was one of the reasons why I was able to last as long as I did, because he took care of the house, took care of my dog, and cooked for me. If you do not have a partner that's willing to do that, it's gonna be tough. Excuse me, because you went from managing minimum 120 kids, minimum, right? Because that's how much is in your roster. 120 kids a day, talking, being there, talking to parents, talking to teachers, principals. You come home, you're not going to want to do anything. You're not going to want to cook. You're not going to want to clean. So having a partner or just someone there to help, to support, is very, very important. And being there for your friends and all those things is also very important. So a lot of times, like, some people will have friends that they came over and helped them grade. Grading test is annoying, especially if your school does not have like a Scantron. Like, it takes so long. It literally takes hours. And if you have someone in your life that is willing to like help you grade, like organize, like go through things, like, please, like, ask for help, because you will need it. And my last tip is, if you make a mistake, it's okay. If you cannot do it, it's okay. The reason why I want to emphasize on if it's boring, it's okay, because people are going to tell you like history is boring, this class is boring, ELA is boring, math is boring. So what? So what? And this connects to what I said earlier too about like make it engaging. It could be engaging and it could be fun, but let's be honest, sitting down in school is not always a fun experience. And guess what? That's okay. Learning is fun, but it doesn't always have to be a gimmick or a game. And I think a lot of first year teachers want the kids to buy into them, so they do fun things often. I had this one science teacher whom I love, and she is someone who does a lot of like fun things and like fun activities all the time, to the point where when the kids just had to sit down and take notes, they couldn't do it because they just wanted to do something fun and all the time. And it's not her fault, it's the kids' fault, right? Because they get used to things so quickly. You're gonna burn yourself out so fast if you're trying to do something so fun and so extravagant every single time. Do it like once or twice a week if you can. Some teachers do it 2 times or 3 times a month. It's okay. Like for me, I did Jeopardy. I always did Jeopardy. And everyone knew that. They were excited because they knew that there was a game that we were going to play. We did laptop stuff often, investigations often. Those things could be engaging, but they take a weight off of you. If you give them the activity on the Chromebooks, we played the Oregon Trail game. They didn't speak to me for the whole period. I was just there making sure they're not, I don't know, on Pop Tropica or something. I don't know if you remember Pop Tropica, but I was there like making sure they were on the Oregon Trail game. And that just goes to say I wasn't supposed to make them play games in the class, but I made a mistake. I didn't know better. Sorry. Oops. Oops. Sorry. I didn't know. Communicate that, right? Like, if you make a mistake, own up to it. I've made so many mistakes. So many mistakes. Own up to it. It's okay. Move on. You're human. Teachers are so idolized as these superhuman, perfect beings that can't make any mistakes and can't do anything wrong. That's BS. I'm a person, not a robot. And no one should ever treat you or anybody else as such. If you cannot do it, it's okay. If you need some extra sleep, if you have to call out because you're sick, you have sick days for a reason. I'm sorry for what I'm about to say for the admin out there, but if I am not feeling well, I'm not coming to work. Right? There's some days where, like, you know, you're getting visits by the district and blah 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 and this and this and that. So you still come in anyway, right? Even though you're not feeling well. But think about what that's doing to your body when you show up, when your body's telling you that they need to lay down. Yes, you care about the school. Yes, you care about and yes, you care. Yeah. Take care of yourself. You have sick days for a reason. Use them. And if you need to use extra sick days, get a doctor's note and explain the situation. You should never sacrifice your health for the needs of literally everyone else, because at the end of the day, it's a job, and if you can't do it, they're going to find another person. Even if they're not as great as you, they're still going to find another person, and your shoes will be filled. So always remember that. Think always about yourself first, because if your cup is not filled, how are you going to serve 120 kids who have 120 issues and 120 issues with parents and 120 IEPs and coworkers who don't like you and coworkers who like you too much? Okay? So yes, to make sure you're taking care of yourself, and I think that's the perfect note to end this video on. Once again, my name is Brianna. If you like my content, please sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you like me talking more about my teaching journey and education journey and what's in store for me next, because child, I don't know, please let me know in the comments down below. And with that being said, have a great day and goodbye.